Hi, this is Stacy Sturges, and this is a quick walkthrough of the final version of my design document for content design for the first 9 weeks of instruction for 8th grade math students at a virtual online school, particularly students who have IEPs that call for a modified math curriculum. So the format of instruction here is that the bulk of instruction is meant to take place in live lessons. So I will create some content for those live lessons and kind of a shell structure for instructors to create their own individualized lessons as well. Students are expected to participate in live lessons, but these coincide with modules created in Canvas. So course material will include videos for flipped classroom, guided notes in a PDF format, links to live recorded sessions, and assessments through Canvas, quizzes, and external sources. And I'll talk more about those activities in a minute. So the needs for these particular group of students is to have content that is modified, to have scaffolded content that's meeting their needs and leveraging their strengths. And it's impossible to know without actually having a group of students what those would be. But this is a good general format for how to best meet the needs of these students. And then as far as the learning theory, I looked at two ways to go about it. Generally, we'd be using a behaviorist learning theory just based on the needs of these particular students and the content of math, where there's a lot of explicit instruction, lots of modeling through live lessons and videos, and lots of guided and independent practice. So most of the live lesson time is spent, there's a mini lesson usually, and then a lot of guided practice, and then independent practice both in live lessons and through content in the modules, and frequent feedback. And then as far as constructivist theory is implemented through any opportunity to make real-world connections for students. Every lesson has an time where we're activating prior knowledge in a warm-up activity, student-centered learning, and then opportunities for reflection at the end of a live lesson. So that will be built into the format there. And I won't bore you by reading all of the goals and objectives, but basically they're TEKS. They're just based on the 8th grade Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills TEKS. And so though these students will have modified versions, the goal is always to work toward grade level TEKS. So every one of the objectives will have its own module because it's basically every objective is tied into a lesson, a live lesson. And then students will need to have a web browser, a PDF viewer, access, of course, to Canvas and Blackboard Collaborate. That's the platform for the live lessons. And then individual student needs might dictate a screen reader, calculator, things like that, but that would be just based on individual student accommodations. And there is not a textbook. Everything is taken from open educational resources and other content on the internet. And then for learning activities, each learning objective is housed in its own Canvas module with instructions for students to view a very short flipped classroom video before their live lesson and to download these guided notes, which are basically accommodated note-taking for students. It's almost like a fill in the blank where they can listen to the live lesson and it points them to make sure that they are writing down information about vocabulary and key skills. Each module also has an opportunity for independent practice and an assessment. So I'll build out a couple of live lessons as well and include those in some of the modules. And during live lessons, there's a lot of interactivity with students through the whiteboard and quiz tools, breakout rooms for small group and peer collaboration. And then for assessments, they'll have, of course, like instructors are always gathering informal data through live lessons or even through practice questions. But there will be an actual TEKS aligned, though accommodated and modified assessment with each module through an external site called USA Test Prep. And then for evaluation, students take a beginning of the year benchmark, and I'll include that as well in Canvas, and one for the end of an interim for the end of the quarter as well. And that's about it. So this is just meant to take place in the first 9 weeks of school this year. Thank you so much.